All right, so this is just going to be a session where I talk about the profile paper, and in this case, it's a I want you to I want you to go to a website, and I want you to work with the material there to try to figure out the general characteristics of the material on that website. Okay, so whenever you write a profile paper, the word profile is a little contentious right now in this day and age, but it really shouldn't be. I mean, there's good stereotyping and there's bad, right? There's good profiling and there's bad, because that's how our brain works. Our brain works with so many brute details that we shift and we generalize and we come up with an abstracted schema that just helps us not get overloaded, and poof, we can plow through all the sensory data and all the cognitive information, the noetic information you get throughout the day. You can just cut right through it because your brain is built to generalize, to abstract, to work in broad strokes. And then, when you focus and you need to, it can also work with fine details, sure. But this is just something we do, okay? And what I mean by this is, when you write a profile paper, which is something you definitely can do for your research paper, okay? But you basically look at a class. A class is a collection of things or people or events or whatever, but it's a collection, and everything that goes into the collection shares the class characteristics. All right. For example, you might have a couple professors in your life right now, maybe five, 4 or 5. Maybe if you look over your past semesters and you put them all together, you might have already run into maybe 10 college professors. Okay. Well, that's your class, right? And then you look at those people in the class. Those are the individual members, the members of the class. And when you try to profile it, you just try to find the what they all share, or what most of them share. Now it's kind of tricky, okay? I'm going to save the board for later, but when you have a class, okay, you have characteristics that all of them have to share in order to be in there. Okay, that's called defining characteristics. Okay. So for you to have a Tri-C professor or a Kent State professor or a University of Akron professor or just Cleveland State University professor, probably the person has to be alive. Okay, they have to be alive. They have to be human. Well, that's duh, right? So those defining characteristics are way too broad, right? But don't they all have to have at least a master's degree in the discipline they're teaching? See, now there's something they all have to. Don't they all have to be officially employed by the school? That may be kind of obvious, maybe not. We'll see. Don't they all have to? And then you find that out. Aren't they all working within a certain recognized grade schema? Don't they all give you syllabi? So. These are characteristics that they all share, right? Are they all using materials to help them teach? Okay, well there you go. That could be something they're all doing, right? But then you have so you have defining characteristics, right? And sometimes those are just kind of not so many. I mean, when they all have to share them to be able to be called that thing, right? Those class characteristics, those defining characteristics, sometimes they get really short. It's a small list. Sort of a humorous story goes that ancient philosophers battled with this question of what is a human being, right? And where they say, well, they drink water. Well, so do cats. Well, they have to eat, regularly. Well, so does almost every other animal. What makes a man or a woman a woman? What? And finally, they were discussing this in some compound, and someone threw a chicken over the wall, and it landed among the philosophers, and it clipped around, and they yelled from the wall, "It's a featherless biped." A featherless biped is the definition of man. Goes on 2 legs, and they don't have feathers. Well, maybe that actually kind of makes some sense, but I'll let you think about that for a little bit. It's the defining characteristics are smaller than you think. What is kind of more important are the average characteristics. These are what are called the accidental characteristics. All right. So you have the essence of the thing, the essential characteristics, and then you have the accidental characteristics. Accidental characteristics are what a lot of them share, but not every single one has to have it. You see what I'm saying? So, like, take your professors, probably they're all between the ages of 30 to 60, right? You might have an 80-year-old person running around and they're bright, but that's the exception, right? I don't think any of you have a 15-year-old professor or a 20-year-old professor, okay? So, but you certainly have an oldest one in the group and you have a youngest one in the group. So, though, you get a spread. You know what I'm saying? I bet a lot of them actually dress nice. Do they dress professionally? Present company excluded, right? I'm just lucky to have combed my hair today. But anyway, you can say, well, I have 8 professors and 7 of them really dress professionally, or 6 of them dress professionally, okay? And there you go. So what you at that point for the accidental characteristics, you're looking at stuff that a lot of them share, but not every single one. But it's still enough for you to be able to describe the quote unquote average college professor, okay, right? So you can do this with a lot of things. And what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and go to the superheroes website. It's when you open up the lesson that has this assignment, you'll see that there's a link in there that takes you to this website. And in fact, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to take us there right now, okay? So give me a second. Here we are, okay? Now these people have a hard trouble funding their projects. So, this is like the third website I've seen from them because the websites keep on getting defunded. They stop paying their bills to Wix or whoever they're using, and the website goes offline. But this one is still up, so yay. And you have articles, you have galleries. Here are your pictures. And each one of these has drop down stuff that you can look at. So I want you to be free to look at anything on this website to help you, be able to profile a real life superhero. So what is a real life superhero in the first place? Well, these people, they are certainly coming from the superhero realm of Marvel and DC Comics and all that, and they're riffing off that, but they're basically saying, hey, we're going to do what we can. We don't have superpowers, but we can get out there and fight crime in a mask, and we're gonna get a costume and we're gonna go out at 2 a.m, and we're gonna some of them go out at 2 a.m, but others will go out during the day, and they're gonna be like, you know what, we're just gonna go and pick up trash, or we're going to go and we're going to stop a drug deal. Yeah, some of them actually do that, or they're like, we're going to go and we're going to just, we're going to keep the streets safe. We're just going to walk up and down and make sure everyone's kind of behaving, do good deeds, all that sort of thing. So as you scroll down, you see that here in the galleries section, right here, I'm just at the heroes. You get a ton of pictures and it's all alphabetized, right? So let's look at Angle Grinder Man, okay? Now I know Mr. Angle Grinder, okay? What he does is you can see him doing it right there, can't you? You see that? He has a grinding tool and he'll go around the city wherever he is. I forget what city he's in. And he literally will grind the tire lock off your car. So a tire lock is what a police officer will put around your tire. It's a big clamp. It's a clamp because they figured out who you are by looking at your license plates or whatever. And you have like 20 tickets you never paid. So in order to keep you from moving your car, they'll put this tire lock on it and basically they caught you, unless you want to abandon the car. So Grinder Man, Ankle Grinder Man, he just goes around and grinds these things off for you, and then you're on your way, and you've stuck it to the police, and and he's happy to do that for you. Okay, so that's really all he does. But how do I know all of this about Angle Grinder Man, right? Because it doesn't say anything there. All it says, all you get are pictures, right? So what I want to encourage you to do is work with the resources you have, right? Obviously, right here you have a ton of pictures. So in your paper, you should have a couple paragraphs, maybe at least one big one, that talks about what the average costume looks like, what the average appearance of the superhero is. The appearance of the average superhero. That's what I say. What let's look at that. I mean, this guy definitely has a full body costume, but he's exposing his face here. This is no true disguise. In other words, like, I don't know who he is, but I guarantee you that his next door neighbor, or his coworker might look at this and say, "Oh, that's Tommy," or whatever, right? Or this guy walks out of his apartment and his neighbor looks at him and it says, "Hey, Tommy, what are you up to?" Because obviously he's not fully disguised, And then you look at Apocalypse Meow. I don't know, right? We'll find out about her a little bit here, but so she's got a costume going, but she's completely okay without a mask. Now, also look at the fact that she's taking pictures during the day, and he's taking pictures during the day too. All right, so let's go down to Black Arrow. We got kind of a half mask here, but here's something that maybe doesn't have a mask. I don't think she's wearing a mask here. Let's see if I can get a bigger picture. I hate doing that, but yeah, you go. So, people are going to recognize this person. So they're wearing a costume, but they're not necessarily, super concerned that their identity remains a secret, right? Here's Amazonia. Now she does a pretty good job keeping her identity secret, but not here, right? Not here. Now notice the daytime photos. Notice the amateur quality of the photo. Okay, this is fuzzy. These are basically two of the same thing. Why would you ever post that, right? Well, maybe this is like turned a few more inches or whatever, but really, that's a waste of a spot here, right? This one is cut off. So there's an amateur quality to this, right? Now maybe when you click on the full photo, it's not cut off, but they didn't scale it right so that when I went to a thumbnail, well, anyway, let's just keep on going. Let's see. Now here's Black Monday Society. Okay, now we got. Let's take a look at this. They're not letting me click through their pictures. It looks like I'm going to have to hit each one. So this is a group that hang together, I think in Detroit or something. You'll have to read about it if you want to. But yeah, I cannot see any of their faces, right? But I mean, look at this guy right here with the red devil mask. Look at this guy. Are they going to be helping old ladies across the street? If a little kid is lost at 11 at night and one of these guys shows up, one of these people show up, Black Monday Society shows up to do their duty, they're going to give that kid a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the kid's going to be like running the other way because of how they look, So there we got something different going on. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they had the costumes, but I feel like all of a sudden I'm getting a different type of real life superhero. You know what I mean? So let's go back to the gallery, and I want to before I was about ready to move off with some other things, but we're back with Captain Jackson here. Okay, is that what it is? Captain Jackson? Yeah. Okay, this guy, he's not Black Monday Society, right? People like to hang out with this guy, right? But he's also seeking them out. He's community events. He's got some weird looking glove. I don't know how you're ever going. That just seems like it'd get in the way of a ton of things. It's too puffy. So the point is maybe he's more of a photo op guy, to help spice up a community event than actually doing anything. I don't know. You got to read about him, I guess. But he's definitely out in daylight. He's definitely with people, and that's something that you could. Oh yeah, who's this? Captain Ozone? Oh boy. All right. So you can draw characteristics just from the photos. You know, that could be a good part of your paper. And you can also qualify some of the groupings. In other words, the majority of these seem to be kind of fun, kind of we're here to help, kind of we're very non-threatening with our costumes, kind of we want to show our face, we're not trying to be super disguised. If we do have a full body costume, we're still really friendly because we hang around with people and we let a lot of people take our pictures. But you know, then you run into someone's like Citizen Smoke, you know. Uh, yeah, how if he's going around doing look like that, you know, how many people are going to want him to show up at their kid's birthday party or at a you know river walk or at a I don't know, you know, but I think he's maybe in a little bit of a different category here, you know. You got, don't forget though, at the very bottom you've got 9 pages of this. Okay, let's look at page 2 for quickly. So be sure that you scroll down and you really try to put some time into this. I'm trying to find some of the Black Monday ones really do look like an exception, don't they? Right. So we'll remember that one. The Black Monday Society. Oh yeah, here we go. Is this Geist or Dr. Discord? Okay, okay. So he seems to belong with Black Monday Society, right? I mean, he looks a little menacing, and his pictures kind of portray that. The guy is not necessarily interested in being photographed in a lot of happy places. You see what I'm saying? So, but you know, Eon, maybe not so much. I really don't know how that guy's not going to fall over. But maybe he's mastered the art. But these guys, not so much, right? They don't look like Dr. Discord, right? So yes, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. In fact, I want to go back up to the first page we were at. I hope I don't make you a little dizzy with all this scrolling up and down, but I want to go to Angle Grinder Man because again, you know, I seem to know something about him that if you start clicking on anything you can click, that's one thing I would recommend. Like I'm going to click on his name, and it looks like I just get the pictures, but then I get this little thing right here, so I'm going to click on that, right? And now I can read a little bit. But what's funny, maybe not so funny, is that sometimes what you can actually read relating to one superhero has nothing to do with them. It's the most bizarre thing, and now I lost it. That's because this website is kind of gimpy. But I don't even know if this is going to be about Angle Grinder Man, even though we got to it, right? Real life superheroes on the streets of San Francisco, or is it Santa Fe? I don't know. Right. You know what I'm going to do? Actually, I'm going to go up here, okay? And I'm just going to put in Angle Grinder Man. And I'm going to see what I can find. And now I found something. I found a couple things. But I definitely found this one. Let's see. And there we go. You know, and I can read a little bit about him. And that's how I would do a little bit of sort of next level research on this, because you can definitely write this paper just staying on that page, that the link that I was at. We're going to go back there right now. But if you just, you know, Google their names, you might find other material that helps you learn a little bit more about them. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing because I want to show you what I think would be a good start for you in terms of how to organize your thoughts on your essay on this. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and get back to this right here. Okay, here we are. And I want to quickly take a look at the messages, though, to see if we have anything. All right. I was wondering if there were any, you know, if there were any comments or questions at this point. All right. I didn't see any. So I'm going to go ahead and keep on going. Hope you can see this again. You know, I see just such a small little tile down there that I never really have complete faith that you can see this. board, but no one's complained yet, so I'm going to go ahead and keep at it. So again, I like to think of my paper as a rectangle, or a rectangle, a vertical box. All right, and we're going to go ahead and do that. And what I would like to see here is just, again, an approach that signals to me that you're thinking about your essay as if it's an article in a magazine that someone's going to be reading on their own. It's not, you're not writing it as a school assignment, right? So I would kind of like a pretty interesting title up here, right? In fact, I would like a two-tier title, main title, and then colon and the subtitle. Okay. And then, obviously you're going to have to introduce the topic, so, we'll just say intro to real life superheroes. And how might you do that? Well, maybe for this essay, it would work if you just started out with recounting kind of a bizarre story that happened to one of these superheroes out there. They tried to stop a gas station holdup or something, and they jumped off the roof and they broke their leg or something. I don't know. Go and just open up a new window and type in a new tab, internet tab, and just type in weird story with a real life superhero or something and see what you get. In fact, I'm almost tempted to do that right now because I'm sure we'd find something. So maybe you want to start with an actual story, right? Describe it. Be very visual with it in your writing. But then maybe you would transition into saying, not the exception. There's, a whole, society of these people, a whole lot, a whole group of real life superheroes. Okay. And, yeah, I think if you were trying to figure out how to start this, you maybe would look in the news for anything that has been a recent activity with the real life superhero. Every now and then, I still see things in websites, local news, that talk about this person that tried to stop, a carjacking, or I don't know what, but they're dressed in a costume and the police arrested them instead of the perpetrator or something, some weird thing like that. Maybe we'll take a look after. But anyway, somehow introduce your reader to the notion of this topic you're dealing with, right? Then extend it to, hey, there's a whole group, right? In fact, you might want to mention here the website, the organization, what makes a real life. Okay, well, let's just talk about, maybe mention the society, the website. Okay. So down here, that's when we begin, trying to draw up the average picture, the picture of the average real life superhero on this website. So that's really what you're after. You have to look at the individuals. You have to look at enough of them to begin to see characteristics that are arising to the topic in terms of shared characteristics. For example, the age spread. How old is the average superhero on this site? What about race? What are the is it well integrated? Is there diversity there, or is it predominantly one? What about gender? Right? Things like that. You're just finding those general characteristics. Not every single person that's on the site has to share it, but enough have to share it so that you can say, look, if you're rolling the dice, or if you're just reaching into the bag and you're going to pull out one at random, it's probably going to look like this. You're going to get exceptions. I know we'll talk about exceptions at the end, but you're just going for that average, And so down here, you start your description of the average real life superhero. And you definitely should talk about their appearance, their costumes, and all of that, because that's the information you have right there on the website. You see what I'm saying? So be creative in terms of how you're finding those characteristics. For example, it seems like the vast majority of them are very, very willing to be photographed with other people in the community. You know, the arms are around them and they're laughing, or they're in a group of other people, citizens, right? Just not non-superheroes. Uh, a large part of them, you know, their photos are during the day, just out there, taken by someone else with an amateur, you know, they don't have necessarily a professional quality to them. That's some other characters. Um, you know, so those are things that you can just, you know, mention because it's actually there in the data. You look at all those pictures, you realize, hey, very few people are actually truly concerned about covering their whole face. Or maybe it's 2 out of 3, you know. If you can actually come up with some numbers like that, that's helpful. You know, if you actually count it and all that, and you realize, yeah, for every 2 that don't have a full face covering, there's 1 that does. I think it's more like 1 in 5. But anyway, they're not necessarily, you know, trying to like hide their identity truly, right? They're just using the mask, you know, as an empowering device, not as a true identity, you know, eraser. So yeah, you know, bring up your description here, right? And then I think that down here, you would talk about the exceptions. Because you do find exceptions here, right? I mean, you're going to find the average description, but then you're going to find, you know, the Black Monday Society, which really looks like a team of ghouls. You know, I mean, uh, these people escaped out of the 3rd level of hell, you know, and they're terrorizing the city. In fact, it looks like, you know, Captain Jackson ought to come and take care of these guys, you know. So you know, these don't look friendly. They don't. Dr. Discord is not letting himself get photographed during the day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you should talk about the exceptions. Maybe talk about a subgroup, just so that your reader knows that you're recognizing the complexity of this community. You know what I'm saying? And now, what about this? If you have a nice way to end, go for it. If you don't, maybe you don't even need that. You know what I'm saying? But this would be, you know, ending, closure. I think it might actually be optional. Maybe when you finish all of this, it could just be a couple of lines. It doesn't. I'm presenting this in terms of sections, right? And I think here, you know, this needs at least 1 paragraph. This needs about another paragraph. This needs like 3 or 4, I think, paragraphs. And this one maybe needs 1. And this might just mean a few lines. Technically, it would be a paragraph, but just a small one. I'll put it short. Because what if, you know, you mentioned this really crazy scene that happened on a city street, and then here to close it, you're like, so the next time you see someone in a, you know, full body costume jumping out of a car to stop, you know, this give them a break, or you know, shake their hand, or you know, whatever, and enjoy the moment. You know, you're in the presence of a real life superhero. I don't know. That could be just like 2 or 3 ways to signal to your reader that you're done, right? What is the main job of the ending? It's just obvious. It's to signal to your reader that you're done. We want the reading experience here. If we didn't want the reading experience, then everything we just looked at would be enough for us. It would be like bullet point information, poster board information. It would be like, hey, Mac, just the facts, man. Just give me a boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm out of here. You don't read books that way. You don't watch movies that way. You know, you want that experience. You want to feel the beginning, the middle, and the end. You want to feel the text opening up to you, and then the companionship of the experience as you're working with the text, and then you need to feel it close and say, we're done, right? And that's really it's so simple. A lot of us forget that that's really all that you need to do down there. It's just close it up, you know. But it doesn't work to say, okay, thanks for reading, I'm done. You know, you got to be a little more sophisticated, because you're experts with texts. Think of how some of your favorite movies manage to close. Think of how the songs you like to listen to close. Think of you get the idea. Okay. Well, thoughts, comments, questions. What do we have here? Okay, so this is due on the 15th, and what I would love for you to do is to get started sooner than later on this, so that when we have an office hour time together, you can talk to me about ideas, about maybe you think this word count. Okay, just go ahead and check the lesson, lesson 4, and then when you open up that folder, you see all the stuff in there, but then always go to the bottom where you actually submit the thing, open that up, and you should see a word count. If not, let me know. I'll put one in there. You can actually put pictures in here as well. I welcome that. You can experiment with pictures. But as far as listen, as far as tracking the information, okay, at the risk of going too long, I'm going to I have a fan right here. That's what you see here. But on this side right here, I'm going to show you how I would do the tracking chart. Okay. What you need to do is you need to spend an hour or two just looking through the site, right? Turn on some music, whatever, and I would say get a piece of paper and a pencil and just make a tracking chart. And what that is you don't necessarily know how it's going to work, right? But you need to start somewhere. So pick one person, pick Amazonia, all right? And just put her here. Okay. So this is the tracking chart. Oh, one thing about the characteristics are what are their names like, right? They all are using assumed names. That's one thing you should just quickly mention, but can you go a little bit deeper and see some characteristics of the names they choose? But anyway, now the columns would be characteristics you recognize from Amazonia, like, black. She seems to have predominantly a black costume. Open face. In other words, not really a mask. I mean, I think she had one somewhere, but then she's willing to be photographed without the mask. Okay. Middle age. And of course for Amazonia, as you mark those characteristics that you can obviously see there in her pictures, you're going to be putting the check marks there, right? I mean, she's going to get a check mark for every single one of them, right? Right. But then when you go to the next one, that next person is going to go ahead. Since she's a woman, right? So here we have gender is woman. For Angle Grinder Man, you might get some checks there, but your job with Angle Grinder Man is to add other columns, right? He's going to be male, right? So we're going to put male here. Now, obviously, Amazonia doesn't get it, but Angle Grinder Man does, right? And he doesn't have black costume, so maybe I should have a column that says non-black costume, right? And he's not going to get that. He's not going to get the black costume check, but he's going to get the non-black. So I'll do that over here, non-black costume. If you can read all of this, I ought to give you a prize or something, a trophy. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, look, you know what? Right here, boom, these two. All of a sudden, both of them are sharing that characteristic. You see what I'm saying? Are they both holding something in their hands? Do they both have a tool that they like to? Yes, Angle Grinder Man does, and I think Amazonia has some sort of leather stick or something. I don't know. So that would be another column, right? And I would use Angle Grinder Man to help me develop the column of characteristics. And then when I go to the third one, I can already start checking off the ones I have. And that third one might help me have some more columns. And then I could see if Amazonia and Angle Grinder Man fit those other columns. And pretty soon I have this really big chart. But you have to let you have to start with like one class member, and you have to like detail it very much so you get those columns of characteristics going, and then just check mark all of them, and then go to the next class member and the next and see what happens. Let the characteristics grow, the column number grow. Then always do some back grading, if you will, or back inspection. Go back to the ones you've already looked at to see if they fit those new columns. You see what I'm saying? And pretty soon you'll have a pretty decent chart that helps you find the characteristics you want to talk about in your essay. Well then, questions or thoughts or comments? Okay, I said I would like to stop at 9, and I'm going to try to keep my promise. So I'm actually going to head out to the tennis courts to exercise a little bit. And you know, again, you're welcome to email, call, text, and I hope to see some of you on Wednesday. But if not, please decide for yourself what you need to do, and definitely use the time in other profitable ways if you don't need to be here. Okay. All right. I'm signing off. I'll see you later. Thank you.